Hello and welcome to MTM Vegas. The masks are off as of yesterday, the 13th of May. Governor Sisolak is following the CDC guidance. If you are vaccinated, you no longer need a mask indoors, outdoors. You don't need to socially distance. Those are the rules here in Nevada. And the casinos are implementing them as we speak. And we'll also talk in this show about how things are opening back up, buffets coming back, a lot of stuff to cover on this show. I was downtown Las Vegas yesterday for the opening of Dick's Last Resort with the mayor of Las Vegas and tons of people, no masks anywhere. It was really an interesting sight to see as things are just sort of swinging back in that direction and Vegas getting ready to be 100% capacity pretty much now. So the mask news broke after we recorded this episode, so I wanted to throw that in there. We talk lots about the reopening, lots of other cool stories as well. So stick around for that. If you like the show, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Leave a comment. Mark and I want to discuss all of this stuff with you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let's hit it. So, Mark, there's so much news this week, a lot of exciting stuff. So we're just going to get right into it because we have so much to cover. Starting with MGM Resorts announced 100% capacity at all their properties. They finally got approval, and that's Bellagio, Aria, MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, Park MGM, Mirage, New York, Luxor, and Excalibur. Pretty exciting.
More plexiglass coming down. I
Yeah,
wonder
I
what they're
saw.
going to do with all that extra plexiglass, because that stuff's not cheap. So I wonder if who will like repurpose it or figure out some way to use it, or some company will try to buy it from all these casinos or what.
I do think there's going to be a surplus of plexiglass. Like the plexiglass makers had their windfall last year, and it's probably going to be a lot of surplus used plexiglass in the market.
They're going to make a whole bunch of bridges like the one in China where the glass blew off because of high winds or something, and they're going to make all these bridges around Vegas. Oh, you can see underneath it while you walk across or something. I don't know, but it is going to be crazy how much plexiglass is going to be out there after all these casinos, restaurants, everything pull down all this stuff. It's at every cash register you go into, at every store. So it'll be interesting to see.
A lot of dumpsters full of it, I'm sure. A lot of back rooms where the people just sit it there, and it'll be sitting there 10 years from now, of course. But here in Vegas, it's good to see that. And the Stratosphere also got approval, and we should see all of the casinos, the ones that don't have approval yet, get it relatively soon. And we also learned that the monorail is opening on May 27th. So the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, they bought the monorail last year, said that it's going to be run until its end of life. This isn't a system that's going to be going on into the future forever, but it will be back just in time for the World of Concrete in early June to work along with the Tesla tunnels, bringing our first big convention back. So good to see that as well. And we've even seen the City Center tram, the Aria tram, running as well this week. So Vegas coming back.
Yeah, it's good to see the monorail back. I know, my Vegas, that was like the one thing I'd go for is the BOGO monorail, like 3-day tickets and stuff, because they'd be like 20, $30. So it's a good bang for your buck if you're running the My Vegas app on Facebook in the background while you're doing other stuff on your computer. I will say when My Vegas first launched, like I was in there right after it launched, it had some amazing value and some really cool stuff that you could get, and now it's been really watered down. But that was always one that I look forward to. So good to see it coming back. I do find it interesting that it doesn't run 24 hours, 7 days a week. Have they ever said why they shut it down, just to kind of keep people from doing stupid stuff on it? Or, was there a reason behind why it closes for like 4 hours on the weekends?
I don't know that the monorail has ever run 24 hours. I think it's just closed for a few hours at night for maintenance and stuff like that. I think, according to their press release, Mondays, 7 a.m. to midnight, Tuesdays through Thursdays, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m., and then Fridays through Sundays, 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. So, I mean, that's pretty late.
What's the point? Point of shut it? Just go the 4 hours or whatever. But I never have run into the issue with it because, late at night, I'm either back near where I'm staying or within walking distance. But I just found it interesting that they never did do it a 24-hour cycle. But I'm sure they do some maintenance, or just, didn't want people passing out on it and laying there all night or something. I don't know.
It's good to see that they are running full hours and not just like, oh, we're going to open it for 8 hours a day. So that's good to see. I've been riding the monorail since basically it opened on local tickets. They've always sold tickets for $1 to locals. You have to buy it at the ticket station there. And their press release seems to indicate those local tickets are coming back. So I'm excited about that as well. Because,
That's an awesome deal. I need
yeah,
you to meet me and buy me tickets
it's a
from
limit
now
of
on.
two. It's a limit of two. And I don't know what their current system is, but they would log your license plate number or your driver's license number so that you couldn't buy tickets at multiple places. But hopefully all that still remains, and that's pretty exciting. Another news of opening. I know you're excited about this. Bacchanal at Caesars reopening May 20th. That buffet has gone under a renovation while it's been closed. They redid it quite a bit. That's one of my favorite, if not my favorite buffet in Vegas. I love that with my diamond status, I can skip the line. I love the food there, and I've always had a good meal. It's not cheap, but pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like they added, some 50 new items to the menu and stuff. So they really took the time off to revamp everything, which is good to see. It must be one of the profitable buffets since it's one of the first ones coming back, and it's a higher end one. And we've talked in the past that we think some of the lower end ones might not come back because they are kind of a loss leader with the amount of food waste and everything. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, the big news I think of this whole announcement was that they're now on Open Table, so people can get reservations, which was always a big pain with the Vegas buffets is waiting in that line, especially at Bacchanal. So that's cool. That'll open it up. Maybe it'll be kind of like a you reserve your spot, you come later type of thing, like a online queue versus standing in line. But I also wonder, does that discount having status with Caesars? What little value is left there? Do you still cut those people at Open Table when you come in line? Who gets priority? So that'll be interesting to see. And I told you and your wife should go, and she does Open Table. You use your status and see who gets in first.
I think that it's a casino. I think that the diamond status is going to get in first. It's interesting because I've never been to Bacchanal during any sort of a peak time where there's not a line that looks like it's 2 hours long. So that buffet is always busy. I agree with you. I think a virtual queue system would have been better. But yeah, certainly if you're planning on going, why not make a reservation? But I still think diamond status will be better. Maybe we'll do that test. I do know that we want to go try it out. We do like Bacchanal a lot, and it's certainly in that top echelon of buffets here. And we haven't heard news about other ones. Like I expect Caesars, MGM to slowly reopen their buffets to make sense. And as a lot of experts in Vegas have said, we don't expect all the buffets to come back. There was probably some that were operating at a loss. Just don't expect them to come back, and expect the lower end buffets to come back last because there's just less profit there for them. So good to see this, exciting, and a nice little surprise that they renovated it. They're bringing new dishes. They're making it a little bit fresh, making it easier with the open table reservations as well. All right, next we're going to talk about Caesars like we always do, but we've been talking through the entire pandemic about how they have been trying to sell a property. Planet Hollywood was the one that's been most rumored, but they haven't, and they haven't been able to. And now we sort of learned why. They want a high price, it seems like. Tom Reeg, their CEO, said, "We remain convinced that it does not make sense for us to market an asset until we can market it off the cash flow that we're doing with it, not off a bridge to what we think we can do with it." So basically, they're saying we expect to be able to do much better with our properties, and we want to be able to sell it based on that, not based on a lower value because of the coronavirus. And I think more importantly, it's because they don't have a buyer right now that's willing to pay them what they think it's worth, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
saw
and
the
I wonder
Palms
if
sell
that's what I
last
was gonna
week.
say. The palm, if they saw the palm sale and how cheap that was compared to how much money's been put into the property, and they're like, "Whoa, maybe we need to back off this. We're getting lowball offers," and that just sold, and we're not, that's nothing near where we're looking for. So I think it makes sense. I was surprised so many things sold, like sand sold, for record numbers. I was surprised that there's been this many sales during the pandemic, just because if it's based off of earnings ratio, like, I don't know how they base the sales, but if it's anything like a extrapolated earnings for the year, it's going to be lower than it would be in a normal year. So yeah, it makes sense to hold off. I know you were shooting for Hard Rock for Palm, so Hard Rock for Planet Hollywood is the one that makes the most sense now. So maybe that's coming in 2022, but we'll see. I definitely see why they would put it off, but it's probably just trying to shine it up and make it seem like they made this decision when they just weren't getting any offers that they liked.
Yeah, I mean, San Manuel, they obviously they looked at the strip. They even said that, and then determined that the Palms was a better deal. I mean, look at the value that they're getting there with a fully renovated property. We know Stations or Red Rock Resorts spent well over $1 billion between the cost of it and the renovations, and so they're getting a pretty good discount there. Tropicana sold obviously to Bally's, and that was a pretty good deal. Like they didn't spend a ton, but who else is in the market buying stuff right now? And like you say, the Seminole tribe from Hard Rock certainly is in the market, but maybe they're not willing to spend top dollar to get a property. Maybe they think prices will come down. And there's the other kind of X factor is there is also land on the strip to develop. That maybe they pursuing that sort of a strategy too. So clearly, Caesar's coming out and saying this is because they don't have a buyer or they don't even have the hope of a buyer at this point. And that would be my guess anyway. So we'll see. But Planet Hollywood, stay in Planet Hollywood for now. That place just wants to keep going. And you and I both like it, so no complaints there.
Yeah, always a big fan of Planet Hollywood. Very underrated, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be the perfect Hard Rock. And I wouldn't mind seeing it managed by a different company either. Just because we do like it so much. The rooms there are renovated. It's a nice property, but it's not going to be cheap given the location. The fact that Caesars did renovate the rooms within the last couple of years. The casino is very nice. Everything that's going on there is going to mean that it costs a pretty penny. So we'll see if that ever happens. Speaking of costing a pretty penny, the MSG Sphere, we learned some new things this week that I found was interesting. To start, the cost has now ballooned up to $1.826 billion for a concert venue. I mean, this isn't even a sports arena.
Doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they're going to recoup this investment. It's crazy.
It really is. And what was interesting here, too, is Las Vegas Sands, who owns the Venetian for now, is basically providing the land. And we weren't sure really what the financial dealings were between Madison Square Garden, who's the primary builder and operator, and Las Vegas Sands. But in this release or in this Review Journal article, it says that through March 31st, Madison Square Garden Group had spent about $712 million on the MSG Sphere, while Las Vegas Sands had only spent $65 million. So it does look like Madison Square Garden's taking on the brunt of the spending for building this. Yeah, I hope to be proven wrong, but given the number of venues in Las Vegas, and then given the cost of this, how are they going to recoup? I mean, there's only so many. I guess they're going to have some sort of a resident show, right? There has to be an event going on there all the time for them to be able to recoup their money.
Yeah, it made sense when we were thinking maybe this is where the NBA team's going to go. If it's just concerts, that's a tough sell. It's going to look cool from the sky. I'll give them that. When you're flying into Vegas, or driving, it'll be like the thing you see. So that'll draw you in. But even if you look at, there was some financials in there of revenue for Madison Square Garden in New York City, which has, hockey, has basketball, and has concerts. And it didn't come anywhere near the level that you would expect to pay off a $2 billion investment. So that's kind of crazy. Maybe they're just hoping the valuation of it goes up, but you don't have any sports teams attached to it. So it's not like you have added value from that you can say, hey, this arena is worth this, plus you're getting a sports team. So I don't know. It's bizarre. I don't know what the end game is here. But I would imagine they have to have something big, a couple residencies just to get this, thing. You have to book it like every single night, where a lot of these larger stadiums and stuff go vacant for many days a year. So I don't know how they're going to pull that off. It'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And no matter what, they're going to have their own shows in there, not just rely on traveling concerts or big events. They're going to have stuff in there all the time. But there is 17,000 seats. I mean, it's really hard to fill something with 17,000 seats consistently that isn't a sports event. But then again, I mean, I'm glad they're building it. It looks stunning. It's coming along. It's going to be a really cool venue.
It's not your money.
Well, I mean, Las Vegas is sort of known for throwing good money after bad, and we have lots of casinos that have sort of been sold for a lot. Like we look at the Palms, and that's a good tradition of people losing money in Vegas and on gaming in general. I mean, look at Trump and his casinos in Atlantic City and that city in general. The gaming industry can be very lucrative, but it can also be very, very difficult to make money in. And yeah, we'll see. Wishing them the best there. And another sort of interesting thing, sports related, I guess, is the Oakland A's. There's been a lot of rumblings now. The Oakland A's wanting to leave Oakland. They're not getting their stadium deal that they want there. And Las Vegas seems to be the top destination. I know I've seen local lawmakers sort of talking about it. I mean, do you think the Oakland A's are coming to Vegas?
I don't know. I mean, Oakland's been trying to fight to get out of. The Oakland A's have been trying to fight for a new stadium for a long time now, and they've threatened to leave a whole bunch. And once the Raiders left, they had a little less leverage, I feel like, because the A's aren't as big of a draw. But I think Vegas makes a lot of sense. I would say going from 0 sports teams to 3 in a short period of time is tough for most cities to handle. There's very few cities that have 4 sports teams, not a ton that have 3, because it's just hard to fill that capacity. And then you talk about concert venues and stuff in Vegas. You have to fill all these things to make it worthwhile. But the one thing Vegas has that a lot of other places don't is people coming in, tourists all the time. And anytime their team's in town, they'll make that as a reason to go to Vegas. So I think for that reason alone, stadiums might be 50% people not from Vegas in Vegas, maybe even more than that are tourists. So I think they could pull it off. So it would make a lot of sense. Oakland definitely needs to get out of that stadium. It's terrible. And if they don't want to reinvest in it, then why not?
Yeah, I think the key to it is that we're not going to get government money for another stadium. So the A's aren't going to come here like the Raiders did with a stadium mostly paid for. There are some interesting proposals. Of course, the Rio was the rumored location for a long time of a stadium. We know that's not going to happen. It's sold. They've signed a contract with Hyatt. They're redeveloping that property. So there are some other sites that were potential sites for Allegiant Stadium. The one that's most interesting to me is AllNet Resort and Arena site, which is the old Wet and Wild on the Strip, located right next to Sahara. They have proposed for, almost a decade now, building a basketball arena there. Even as recently as a few weeks ago, they re-upped their stuff with the county. I'm not quite sure what happened, but that project is, who knows if it'll ever happen. It probably won't, but at least it's still alive. The developers are still talking about it. I wonder if that could be repurposed as a baseball stadium site. Of course, there's still rumors, too, that an NBA team wants to come here, but T-Mobile Arena could accommodate an NBA team. So I don't know, but I think that the location would be important, and it would have to be privately funded. So there's definitely some obstacles to it coming to Vegas, and there are other cities that want a baseball team who may be able to put public money in, and that could also make a difference. But certainly the synergy of having the A's and the Raiders in the same city would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, if a basketball team comes, if they don't, use T-Mobile Arena, they'd be kind of stupid. There's so many teams that use that multi-purpose basketball and hockey in the same stadium. So, we're talking about the Sphere and struggling to fill the seats on a regular basis. That would help T-Mobile a whole bunch. You'd have a whole bunch of hockey games, a whole bunch of basketball games, and then you still have concerts there as well. So they basically would have things covered year round. So that would be a good fit. I think NBA would actually make more sense than bringing a baseball team in because of that. You already have the stadium, and you don't have to fill as many seats as you do with baseball. Baseball is a tough sell, especially if you're talking Vegas in the summer and day games. I mean, I went to the Atlanta Braves game for a day game, and I was sweating so bad that I had to leave after after like two or three innings.
I think we would do the Diamondbacks route and have retractable roof, but that adds even more cost and makes it even less likely to happen. And I totally agree. I think the basketball would go to T-Mobile Arena. By the way, my friend reminded me the other day, T-Mobile Arena cost $385 million to build, less than $400 million to build. So about one-fifth the cost of the MSG Sphere. So just keep that in mind. The economics are really crazy for the MSG Sphere. Another interesting story, real quick, is we're going to get an arena football team too. I've talked on the channel, and if you check out our construction updates, the Henderson Events Center is going to be home to the Henderson Silver Knights. I'm not going to call it by its stupid name that they sold their naming rights, the Dollar Loan Center. I'm still not going to do that. But the owner of the Golden Knights and the Silver Knights bought an expansion franchise in the Indoor Football League. It's the 18th team in the league. Right now they have 12 active teams and then 5 teams that are taking this year off because of COVID. But there'll be 18 teams starting in the 2022 season. So they're going to be playing out here in Henderson alongside. So we're going to have, not only do we have this major league sports kind of developing here. No, but I mean, big cities have minor league sports, and it's good to see
Yeah,
that stuff
but
happening.
arena football is like you talk about
It's
throwing
fun. It's fun
good
to
money.
watch. No,
Throw
it's
good
fun to
money after
watch.
bad. Like, yeah, it is, but nobody ever goes. Like, how many times have arena football leagues come and gone or failed? Same with the smaller indoor soccer leagues and stuff like that. So I just don't think there will be enough of a draw, especially when you're talking about all the other sporting events that are available in Vegas now and are going or could potentially become available. I don't know. It's a hopefully you got it cheap.
Well, this is a brand new arena. This is off. I mean, this is minor league sports, so it's never going to be about the tourists or bringing in people. It's going to be about the locals. We have over 2 million people living here, and I feel like the Golden Knights are really sort of, investing in that. We've had great success with our minor league ballpark, the Las Vegas ballpark in Summerlin, which, by the way, the team is the minor league team of the Oakland Athletics. So that's always an interesting. The Aviators always an interesting tie-in. But yeah, so minor league sports actually have a pretty big tradition. We've had a minor league baseball team for a long time. We had some success with minor league hockey teams in the past, which they ended up folding, but not generally because of those teams, but more because of the leagues. And even arena football. I remember in the 90s, we had arena football here that did pretty well. So it remains to be seen. But at least they're getting the best start in a brand new venue, not trying to be on the strip or with that expense. They're kind of, I think, catering more towards local. So we'll see. But I mean, nonetheless, the sports scene here, just in the last 5 or 10 years, it's insane to see where we went from basically nothing to what we have now, and even more to come.
Yeah, it's good to see for sure. And, everybody loves having a sports team in their city. So it's cool for Vegas, great for visitors, something else to, come to Vegas for, great for tourism. So, hey, I hope it works. I don't think it will, but
Well, I think it'll work here better, as good as it'll work anywhere else as far as arena football is. That's sort of my opinion on it. So
yeah,
you're
my
right, the
opinion
league might
is
not
arena
work.
football.
It's maybe you don't like it, but it's a fun sport. I mean, it's a fun
Uh,
sport to watch. Have you ever
oh, it's
watched a
fun
game
to,
in
yeah.
person?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been to one, but I'm just
But
saying,
that's what
like
it's for.
the
It's for
financials of
family.
it.
It's for friend. Yeah, but that's what it's about. I wish them
Yeah.
the best. I hope it works out. All right. So the last story we have is Resorts World finally announced their residency dates, or the first dates where you could buy tickets. Some of the controversy of them announcing their opening date was that they sort of downplayed the fact that their theater is not going to open even close to on time when the rest of the property opens. And so they had this big advertisement with Katy Perry and Carrie Underwood and Celine Dion and Luke Bryan and all of this big thing, but you're not going to be able to see these shows when the resort opens. But now we know when that theater will open. And here's the date: Celine Dion doing 10 shows in November, and Carrie Underwood 6 shows in December, Katy Perry 8 shows late December, early January, and then Luke Bryan next February. So basically, November on is when you're going to be able to see these. All of the tickets go on sale Monday, May 24th at 10 a.m. And I think those tickets are going to be pretty hot, if you ask me. I mean, those are going to be pretty hard to get. 10 shows for Celine, 6 for Carrie, 8 for Katy Perry, 6 for Luke Bryan. Limited supply, coming out of COVID, brand new casino. Yeah, this is going to be the hottest ticket in town, I think.
Yeah, and we've seen, as ticket sales have opened up across the country, it's even lesser names than these have sold out quickly, had to add shows. So there's a lot of pent up demand to see live music, live shows. So yeah, this is going to be near impossible to get. So good luck. If you're into ticket reselling, this is a place to make some money, I think. But if you're just looking to get into the show, wish you the best of luck. I think they'll all be great. So we'll see. But yeah, it will last a couple minutes probably.
It really is impressive what they've done. We've talked about that before. I don't want to go into that too much more, but yeah, this should be very popular. Should get a lot of coverage, and I'll be trying to buy tickets to one of the shows. I don't know which one, but we'll see if I'm sure it's going to be miserably hard to get anything, and they're going to sell out very quickly. So if you do want to go to any of those shows, make sure that you are there right when they go on sale, and see if you're eligible for any pre-sales through your credit cards like American Express. I don't know exactly what they're doing, if they're doing any of that right now, but definitely look into it to see. And access.com is pretty good, pretty comparable to Ticketmaster. So the website should work, and hopefully it'll hold up to all of that demand. But yeah, I mean, this is
should work.
this is all good, exciting stuff. You know, new shows, new venues, potential of sports, things reopening, and another buffet coming back. So, I mean, life is good, Mark.
Lots of crab legs. Let's get it.
Lots of king crab legs. Well, let us know what you guys think about any of these stories. Do you hate the Arena Football League like Mark does? Let us know in the comments. But seriously, you know, what do you think about the potential of baseball, the Oakland A's, all of these casinos reopening? Are you going to go to any of the performances at Resorts World? Let us know. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you guys next time.
See you next week.